With a clapping invitation.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Castle. And I know we've been learning so much since morning. And thank you to my sister for taking us on that disability abuse. A lot of people don't talk about it, but it is real. It's what is going on in the society. So I'm taking us on legal remedies for gender-based violence. Well, like you heard, I'm a lawyer. And I work with Fida Oyo. And virtually every day, we have cases of domestic violence. And you will begin to wonder, okay, so then you marry for me. Kini òfin tó tiẹ̀ dènà gbogbo ilé tó ṣẹlẹ̀. Ṣé tí ọkọ bá gbáyàn lójú, ìyá kan dákẹ́, àwọn fámílì akọ̀báyàn parí ẹ̀ ó ti tán síbẹ̀ nìyẹn. Tàbí bóyá ó tiẹ̀ lè pọ̀ mọ́. Like kéèsì tí Stabura sọ 2,000 naira. Ṣé 2,000 naira ní compensation fún ọmọ tí wọ́n bá ní fọ́ọ̀nù? You can imagine. So on a daily basis, we hear cases of abuses against women and children, girl child in society. And then mama, I'm not going to say that I'm not going to say. So we are here to talk about the legal remedies we have when reported cases of domestic violence are given to us. So next slide, sir. So I started with some of the provisions of the laws we have currently that talks about domestic violence. We have the provisions of the law of Oyo State on gender-based violence. We have violence against person law 2016. It was promulgated in Oyo State. Violence against person prohibition law 2020, also in Oyo State. So because we are in Oyo State, I'm just limiting myself to because on day one in Oyo State, I won't fit that in Oyo State. On day no domestic violence. We equally have so we have translation of these various sections of VAP into Yoruba languages. So we have some of these sections. Next slide. Okay. So acting sort of violence. Share the picture in dada. How lè ṣàlàyé ìtumọ̀ picture yẹn? Mo fi slide yẹn sí torí ó explain the cause violence gangan ó jẹ́. Ta ló lè ṣàlàyé? Physical. It's not only physical. Can you see his mouth were wide open to show that it goes beyond honor me, share, sometimes it might be spoken words. A woman reported the case yesterday. Only constantly, this man will always tell her, so when he got to that stage, she had to tell herself that no. I asked her yesterday, have you moved away from the house? She said yes. But that's number one thing that is important, the priority in your gun. So particularly, we are. That's the priority. So for violence, it is physical force to injure, abuse, damage, or destroy. That is the resultant effect of these things. It either damages you physically, or damages your mental health, or damage your psychology. It damages a lot of things. So it can be either physical, verbal, or passive. The meaning of passive is something we aid. A lot of people say, culture of silence, we aid the abuser to keep on doing that. The next slide, sir. So the consequences of violence we have depression, anxiety, sexual dysfunction, eating disorder. Some people eating disorder. So much have to look at It might be the result of violence. It might be because they've gone through circles. Maybe okay, we had the opportunity of speaking to one woman. She's pregnant. She has been on that degree for quite a while. We're now engaging her. Sex worker, I want to return to Libya. So when she came back to Nigeria, she still continued in her circle of living. Fortunately, only guy kan tó padà sọ pé òun fẹ́ àbúrò òun fẹ́ ẹni ẹ̀wá fún lóyún. Ó sì wá wà lábẹ́ bíríìjì Mọ́kọ́lá for a very long while. Àwọn bẹ̀rẹ̀ lọ́wọ́ ẹ̀kọ́ gbogbo owó tó ń rí pa èlò ló máa ń tẹ̀ ń pa lójúmọ́. Pé ó tọrọ bára náà ni òun yóò máa pa 3,000. Àwọn bẹ̀rẹ̀ lọ́wọ́ ẹ̀kọ́ tó bá tẹ̀ pa 3,000 lójúmọ́ kí ló máa ń fowó yẹn ṣe? Ibo tẹ̀ ló ń sùn náà ó ní òun sún wájú ṣọ́ọ̀bù kan. Ok, ó ṣáà pa 3,000 tí ọba calculate 3,000 lójúmọ́ times 30 days that's like 90,000. Kí lẹ wá ń fowó ṣe tẹ̀ ń pa? Ó ní sẹ́mọ̀ pé bí mo ṣe wà yìí oúnjẹ yẹn ṣáà máa ń wù mí jẹ ní tó bá ti powó báyìí òun wá ṣàjẹun pé ogun nú làwọn fi ń gbé ta. So apparently everything tó ń ṣe oúnjẹ so it's not because she wants that, it's not because she doesn't have ambition or whatever, but she has gone through cycles of abuse and all she can think of is kí ṣáà jẹun kí wà láyé the next day màá tún continue hustle. So we have multiple personality disorder. So people, you know, it is what is happening around them. But yeah, that is sort of you know, she wakes up in the morning, she's not feeling like doing anything. I want it's cycle. We have obsessive compulsive disorder. We have some people resort to taking alcohol, drug abuse. It starts from the violence at home. The next slide. Depression. Sorry, before I forget, depression was there. Depression. God help we women, and God help us to help others. A whole lot of women are depressed. They do not say it. You do not even know until when it leads to something else. A lot of women have blood pressure. They cannot speak out. That is why it's good for us to have a group like this where we talk about domestic violence. Then we also encourage others. When people talk to you to a very large extent, them talking to you is like bringing them out of that depression to some extent. They said the problem shared is half solved. So a whole lot of women are going through depression, and the way out is forcing for them to speak out, break the culture of silence. So we have various forms of violence. My sister has talked about it. We have domestic violence, child sexual abuse, we have rape, assault, verbal abuse, gender-based violence, trafficking for sex, or slavery. So those are the types of abuse and violence we have. We have them in our notes. So since my sister has talked about it, don't let me go over them again. The next slide. Okay, the reasons why violence is detrimental to individual and society at large, from the legal aspect of it. Number one, it violates human rights. Everybody has a right, as enshrined in the Constitution. Chapter 4 of the Constitution of Nigeria provide everybody has a right, irrespective of you being a child, being a woman, being a man, being handicapped, everybody, everybody has a right. So nobody is allowed to violate your rights because of your gender. Not even because of your religion. Irrespective of your religion, your class, your status, everybody has a right. And that right is enshrined in the Constitution. And the Constitution is the ground norm of the society. So first thing first, no matter what report the case domestic violence, you should always have that at back of your mind. But irrespective of okere ni o, dudu ni o, pupa ni o, kuru ni o, ga ni o, everybody has the right to be protected. Number two, it is discriminatory and thereby unconstitutional. Let's talk about constitution the initial time. So if a person is going through domestic violence because she's a woman or she's married to someone, this is discriminatory. you are discriminating against the person. If I have a fundamental human right, why should you discriminate against me by beating me or doing this to me? Not even the workers in your office should go through any inhumane treatment. So either you're a slave, you're a gardener, you're a cook, you're anything, everybody's rights should be protected. Another thing, it threatens a person's physical and psychological integrity. It's just as simple as that. So once you are going to, no matter your psychological balance would be shifting to focus. Bury me at the office, one come and show me. Mama, and she's gone. Her psychological state has been tampered. And it's not her fault. In God, she if you want to do your see, let me be productive. She cannot. Some teachers not come and follow students. It's not their fault. It's what is happening from home. Another thing is hinders gender equality. We are talking about gender equality. We've talked about what gender is. It is what the society has named it to be, not the sex. But she got all on that more. But only obìnrin ni mí, ọkùnrin ni mí, so wọ́n ṣe iṣẹ́ kan fún mi, wọ́n ṣiṣẹ́ kan fún mi. At the end of the day, ọkọ lé náà wọ́n á ní torí obìnrin ni ẹ, o gbọ́dọ̀ submit fún mi ní. Torí obìnrin gbogbo ṣe ayé yìí o gbọ́dọ̀ ṣe. Torí obìnrin o gbọ́dọ̀ sọ ha. Ní family wa, obìnrin máa ń jókòó nígbà táwọn ọkùnrin bá ń sọ̀rọ̀. So tó bá ṣe mistake dá sí ọ̀rọ̀ family, wọ́n á lù ẹ́. Tó bá ti délé pé ẹgbàá ó ti sókè, ẹ̀kọ́ ọmọ kékeré mọ́ fẹ́ gbà á lù. Bọ̀ obìnrin míì ní ibi tó ń fi pankẹ́rẹ́ tiẹ̀, wọ́n fi há. So tó bá ti délé, tàbí wọ́n lọ church, wọ́n wá tún wá ṣàṣàn kankan àbí mọ́ṣáláṣí, àwọn èèyàn wá ń sọ̀rọ̀, àwọn náà wá ṣe mistake, wọ́n ṣe mistake ni o. Wọ́n ṣe mistake ni, kò ṣe pé wọ́n mọ̀. Bọ̀bọ́rọ̀ yẹn ṣe ń lọ, ó wá káwọn lára, wọ́n wá ṣe mistake ìnáwó, wọ́n wá jábọ́, wọ́n má ti wá délé, wọ́n wá yọ ọ̀rẹ́ ni. Wọ́n wá yọ ọ̀rẹ́ yẹn tí wọ́n wá yọ ọ̀rẹ́ fún wọn. At the end of the day, bóyá owó ọbẹ̀ gẹ́rẹ́ wíìkì yẹn, wọn ò tún wá ní fún wọn. Ìwọ dáná ìtọ́jà ìmọ̀wọ̀ yìí, owó ọbẹ̀ wíìkì yẹn, economic cost. It is sample. Like that sample, I don't know, because like it's just a pattern. It will happen systematically. Wọ́n máa sọ pé tí wọ́n bá fún ẹ ní máa kọ́ ṣèké lọ́wọ́ tó bá yá ọ máa dé ẹ̀kọ́ tó bá yá ọ máa dé tó bá yá ọ máa hàn díẹ̀ ìsákùn yẹn ti bá ó máa kọ́ bẹ̀rẹ̀ wọ́n á kọ́ pariwo owó ẹ náà ní especially women. A lot of times during courtship you have seen people that experience violence in their marriages. They've seen the warning signs. It's just that ọ̀pọ̀ Yorùbá máa sọ pé tó máa ti òye bolo ṣàlọ́wọ́ bó ṣe mọ́ sí ẹ̀rẹ̀ ní. Next slide, sir. Few facts. Supposed to be few facts. So, few facts about gender-based violence. It is global. It is not only restricted to Oyo State alone. It is in Oyo, it is in Osun, it is everywhere. It is not only in Nigeria. Ó wà in Ghana, ó wà in US, ó wà in Ukraine. Everywhere, it is global. There are many nations and national bodies that have become enlightened, and so everybody is striving hard to eradicate violence. So because of that, a whole lot of laws have been propagated. We have the CEDAW, Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women. It has been passed as far back as 1985. 1985. See where we are. Since 1985, they've been shouting about domestic. Even before then, proud before then, they've been shouting about domestic violence. So it has been something that has been. It's just that now people are talking about it. That is why we see that it is common. Even in Nigeria, a lot of people don't talk about it. What's in Egole Neja? What is Egole? Ó ti pẹ́ tó ti wà. Wọ́n ní torí ọmọ, torí kíní, ṣàjẹ́ káfí lọ sábọ̀ ọmọ. But what is the essence of curious? Ara wọn nígbà tí ayé àwọn ìyá yẹn wọ́n ti ń lé kú. Báwo ṣe fẹ́ jẹ ọmọ? Ọmọ tí wọ́n tó ti ẹ̀ jìyà, báwo ṣe fẹ́ jẹ ọmọ? So it's been there for a very long time. Now we now have various states enacting the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Bill, Violence Against Persons laws. So it has been there since then. So ẹ̀ka máa rò pé bóyá àwọn women savers wọ́n kàn jíjọ́ kan báyìí ni wọ́n kàn bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí fún wa ní lecture nípa domestic violence. Ó ti pẹ́ ó ti pẹ́, kò dẹ̀ ṣe Nàìjíríà nìkan, kò ṣe lọ́yọ̀ state nìkan, kò dẹ̀ ṣe ní Ọ̀ṣun nìkan, kò ṣe lẹ́kọ̀ọ́ nìkan, everywhere ni Ọ̀ṣun ló ti ṣẹlẹ̀. Ilé agbára ló ti ṣẹlẹ̀. So it can happen to anybody, irrespective of your class. Àwọn ìyàwó bọ̀bọ̀ lówó náà, àwọn náà go through violence o. Ẹni tó bá sọ tiẹ̀ làwọn. Next slide. So why VAP Act matters? Mo pe VAP tẹ́lẹ̀tẹ́lẹ̀ is Violence Against Person Prohibition Laws of Oyo State. It recognizes that girls and women as well as boys and men can be raped. That's number one. Anybody can be raped. Ọmọ kékeré ọkùnrin wọ́n lè pọ̀ ẹ̀sìn. In fact, a lot of cases are there. But because of our line of talk, we restrict it to women alone. It categorizes non-sexual, vaginal, oral, and anal sex as rape. Tẹ́lẹ̀tẹ́lẹ̀ wọ́n sọ pé tí wọ́n bá fi ipá báyọ̀ lò pọ̀, tí penetration bá wà sínú vagina nìkan ní rape. Nísìn, ó ti ju bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ o. Ẹlòmíì fi ìka, wọ́n ti bọ ọmọ nídìí. Ẹlòmíì object, you know what they call sex objects now. That is what they use to stimulate some children, some women. It's forcefully. Ẹlòmíì máa ní, I've forgotten the name they call them. If you don't beat the woman, they will not enjoy sex. What? Sadism. Some people, until when they beat their partner, like beat, not small beating, like that is when they now say they enjoy sex. So they derive pleasure. Like what? I don't understand what kind of pleasure they derive by beating their partner. So it goes beyond just the normal conventional vaginal penetration. Anything can be object. Some might be as far as what? So it goes beyond just the regular vaginal penetration. Then VAP recognizes that different body parts can be used to commit sexual offenses, including rape. Like I said, it could be your hand. Àwọn nurses brother kan wà, wọ́n kàn ní kọ́mọ egere, wọ́n gba sweet, ó yá jókòó sí mi lẹ́sẹ̀. Mo ṣe kó wọ́n yà di ọmọ, wọ́n kàn ní jókòó. Wọ́n ti ń jókòó, wọ́n kàn máa fi kan gbọ́n ọmọ lọ́mọ lábẹ́. That is their own pattern. Tó bá ṣe rí ká, wọ́n kù yìí, wọ́n kàn ní Dámilọ́lá, tó jẹ́ wọ́n gba sweet, wọ́n gba chewing gum, tàbí 500 naira ní 500 naira, 500 naira, kó tọ́jú ẹ̀ kó fi sínú kólú ẹ̀, wọ́n tẹ̀ nínú kólú ẹ̀, kó fi sínú kólú ẹ̀, tàbí gbàkíwà ti ẹ̀gbọ́n ẹ̀ kẹjọ fún. Whereas just ó yá wá jókòó sí mi lẹ́sẹ̀ wọ́n á sọ. Mọ́mí àfi ìpè kò sí nǹkan kan ṣe kókó jókòó sí wọn lẹ́sẹ̀ ó dẹ̀ ti ń ṣiṣẹ́ bí wọn. Then the VAP law sets a minimum penalty for rape at 12 years. Minimum you can get anybody to back commit offence rape. Minimum tó lè jẹ ogún rere tọ́nà lè fún 12 years imprisonment. Then VAP established sexual offender register. So now we now have sexual offender register. Once you commit an offence, rape, any sexual offence, you have a register. In my mind, you know, when we get to heaven, like we Christians say, there's a record. They open the book of life. So we've opened a book of life for sexual offenders, so that if you commit any form of sexual offence, your name will enter. And God help you, you want to contest for any post or anything, they will open the book of life for them. Their name will be there. I think HKT has been doing that. Once they apprehend any sexual offender, they usually publish the names. They put their pictures, they publish their names. Oyo State is yes, newspaper, social media, everywhere. They will paint your name red. So anybody that is seen, anybody that knows you from Adam, we know. So this person know. Rapist ni can buy no say. So one she ìwé fún sexual offender, one she fún wọn, and they are going to be beating them. Their generation, it will even affect their generation. Torí ọmọ tó bí ọmọ torí I don't even know the generation to my head. Wọ́n rántí pé grandpa wọn àbí uncle generation wọn orúkọ wọn wà nínú ìwé ìyè sexual offenders. Next slide. So violation covered by VAP. This is where I like VAP. A lot of people think offenses, gender-based violence is just limited to rape, beating. It goes beyond that. Number one, stalking. Stalking. You know, stalking won't provide food. We'll check some of the provisions and what the law specifically says about them. Spousal battery. Upon know your way, and you want to say Bolia it's provided a forceful injection from home. Peja. Oh, I did not pay. Oh, yeah, that is good on you. Me, she mock where I don't know. Because you got to do your intimidation. I'm not bound when you are intimidating that because of how are you being full in the school? Being full in the intimidation. It's provided for another. Attack with harmful substance. We don't know it is there. It is there. At the period of time I was in the hospital, I was admitted, and the girl opposite my bed, they poured her acid. That theory. As at that time, she had spent about a year. She was with the kilo there. Following for Uncle. That woman was now jealous. Why was the man looking for coming? The next thing is just pour acid on this woman. Very beautiful. As at that time she had spent 1 year. I left the hospital, I still left her there. I think about 6 months after she was still in the hospital. They had to do plastic surgery, remove flesh from every part of her body. The woman those years was so any alcohol substance whatsoever, the mere fact that you even attempt it, thank God for VAP. It doesn't say that when you do. I love VAP very well. If you attempt mo ya tàbí uncle mi wọ́n fi ẹjọ́ lọ mi pé o inside ẹ̀ pé má worry o ẹni ìfẹ́ ṣe kí n kọ̀ wá ní ó yá ṣe dáadáa bó ṣe máa ń ṣe ó yẹ kó kọ́ àwọn obìnrin lẹ́kọ̀ọ́. If you incite, you've committed an offence. Tó bá tún wá ṣe offence yẹn tán tó wá bọ̀ bóyá brother ẹ̀ ó ṣe ó wá sá wá sílé yín ó sì mọ̀ pé nǹkan tó ṣe tó fi sá nìyẹn offence ni ẹjọ́ lọ ni. I'll give us a story. Okay, about a month ago, there was this case of a 6-month-old baby. One misunderstanding. So, out of annoyance, the husband now felt only key aware their girlfriend and boyfriend won't be more around. In the process, we get a query. So, come on, ó tó wẹ́yìn ọkọ ti bí ọmọ ó ti gbé lọ sóṣogbo lọ́dọ̀ àwọn parents ọmọ tó ṣe breast 6 months less than 6 months ní so wọ́n á report ilé ṣe fún wa wọ́n á pè kò gbé wọ́n á pè àwọn parents tó gbé ọmọ sí ọ̀dọ̀ wọn padà gẹ̀ẹ́sì wọn lálẹ́ wọ́n á ní mọ́mí àti dáàdì ẹgbẹ́ sí spíkà mi bẹ́ẹ̀ ní èdè sọ mi ìlọ́rọ̀ púpọ̀ láti sọ fún yín ṣùgbọ́n ọ̀rọ̀ tí màá sọ fún yín pé nọ́mbà wọn gbogbo family yín lẹ́jọ́ community offence tí ìbá sì gbé ọmọ yẹn before 10 a.m. the next morning ẹ̀yin tẹ́ gbé ọmọ tẹ́ gbà lọ́wọ́ ọmọ yín ẹsẹ̀ sófin ọmọ yín tó gbé nọ́mbà 1 àbúrò ẹ̀ tó gbé ọmọ tẹ̀lé lọ́sọ̀ṣogbo mo ṣe pé gbogbo family yín kò sẹ́ni gbọ́dọ̀ tó máa bẹ́ẹ̀lì yín kò sí pé bàbá máa wà ní ọgbà ẹ̀wọ̀n ìyá máa sáré káàkiri mo ní gbogbo yín pátápátá mo fún yín ní 10 a.m. láàárọ̀ ọjọ́ kejì tẹ́ ẹ̀ bá gbé ọmọ yẹn wá ẹ máa rí jà ọlọ́run dẹ̀ bá wọn ṣe wọn bí àti kí tẹ́ ẹ̀ lólu wọn ti gbọ́ ọmọdé ọ́fíìsì wa. So the Violence Against Person Prohibition Bill provide that if you do you that you did ìwọ tó encourage ìwọ tó wá àpò ẹni yẹn in fact ìjìyà ẹni tó wá pọ̀ ẹni tó gba ẹni tó ṣẹ̀ sọ́dọ̀ ó ju ẹni tó ṣẹ̀ lọ. And it is to discourage people from committing offence and see that mo ríyàn tí màá sá pamọ́ tì kò sí pé mo ríyàn ipò tiẹ̀ tí wọ́n á gbọ́ harmful widowhood practice ó tiẹ̀ wá pọ̀ tó ń ṣe àti ẹ̀mọ́ bí ó ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí jáde àwọn family ọkọ it's part of the domestic violence o ipò kọ̀yàn kú kó tí máa bèrè pé dọ́kúmẹ́ǹtì ọkọ ẹ̀dá dọ́kúmẹ́ǹtì lédà ó yá bá mi kó our experience with harmful widowhood practice. I don't know if Rura will remember, there was this woman talk with a cook for over 6 months. Wọ́n jẹ́ kó sin ọkọ ẹ̀. Ọkọ wà mọ́ṣúárì. Wọ́n ní tí o bá ti kó dọ́kú, tí o bá ti mú death certificate wá, tí o kó gbogbo àwọn ìwé ilé wa, àwọn ò ní gbà. Bẹ̀tẹ̀ àwọn bá wá gbà wọn, ó gbọ́dọ̀ tẹ̀lé àwọn lọ sí ìlú àwọn láti lọ sin ọkọ. Wẹ̀rẹ́ àsọkọ́ ti sọ fún tó pé Ìbàdàn ní kẹ́sì ní sí o. And no, to one someone mortuary bill. So our bills here to one accumulate. We have to go to court for her to get an injunction from the court to allow her bury her husband before she could bury the husband. Fortunately for her, it just to see up well. We've been serving them, won't respond. It just to was I want to see. They now brought an application to court again to set aside their order. But either they like it or not, since that they will not see them. What you see? You see, because wọ́n lè resume rẹ̀ wọ́n ní ibi tí gbọ́ àwọn máa sùn sí kọ́ nìyẹn kò kàn yé. So a whole lot of widowhood practice is going on. Mo dẹ̀ sọ we should not even be the ones to encourage it. Anybody that encourages it too is guilty. Ó yẹ ní brother kan àbí uncle kan àbí father-in-law kan tí wọ́n ṣe irú ẹ̀ family yìí ẹ bá ti délé tàbí ọmọ brother yìí kan tó ṣe ẹ̀yẹ àfọ̀wọ́n lé sí pé ẹ̀kọ́ tí mo lọ kọ́lé ni wọ́n sọ pé ẹni tí ó bá encourage ẹni yìí láti ṣe widowhood practice tàbí wọ́n fẹ́ dẹ tí ọkọ ẹ bá kú wọ́n á ṣèbò díẹ̀ wọ́n á ní omi òkú. It's still happening. It's still very much around. And in fact ó ti wá kọ́ náà nǹkan lẹ́nujọ́ mẹ́ta yìí like ìyẹn ọmọ ọgbà ó yẹ kí ó ti kí mo kí ní ìbò ti lọ over time. First, financial dependence and economic violence, we talked about it. That one too. It is still constant. All the provisions of this law as regard all these ones. If you age, you abate, or you perform, you are all guilty. Abandonment of children, spouse, or other dependents without means of substance. Okay, we have few men. I would have said the rate at which our men are responsible nowadays, I don't know. God help us. It is something else. I work with FIDA, and virtually all the cases we get every week, our daddy will be very responsible. Whether I come after work, I won't know. Owó school ọmọ mi ò ní san, owó oúnjẹ mi ò ní san. So I think we can always go to court. If we call you and you don't answer us, it's simple. I'll take an application to court. When enforce it. And God help you, I will attach your account. Maximum account number. Is there a manager office? Straight from the source. Extract from the source. So, child support ni wọ́n fi child support gbé lábẹ́. So wọ́n bá ti gba application wọ́n wọlé attach account yẹn mọ́ ni either how you like it or not. Wọ́n bá ṣe gba salary kó tó yọ ọ̀gá kó tó yọ táìtì ẹ̀ bẹ̀ wọ́n á ti fún ìyàwó ẹ̀ àtàwọn ọmọ wọ́n ti fún wọn ní tiwọn. So next slide. So these are the provisions of VAP. So you can skip this. I said rape. Gently, the punishment is life imprisonment, except where she or he is less than 14 years, then she will be liable to a maximum of 14 years. In case of gang rape, the perpetrator will be liable to life imprisonment jointly and severally. So, if anybody commits an offense of rape, that's the punishment. Apart from penetration, it goes beyond vagina. Some is even anal, some is mouth. They'll say they give them blowjob. It is rape. It is. So for rape, we have provisions that covers it. The next slide. Physical injury. I just put this picture because physical injury goes beyond contamination. Can you see the different parts of the body it can happen to? Your knee, your elbow, your shoulder, your hand. Physical injury. Once anybody who willfully, recklessly, or even attempt to inflict injury to another shall be liable on conviction of a term not exceeding 5 years, or a maximum of 500,000 naira fine or both. So, to buy inflict physical injury upon anybody, you have yourself 5 years imprisonment or 500,000 naira fine or both, depending on how grievous the offense is. The next slide. Enslavement or depriving one of the other liberty. Anybody that deprives, attempts, incites, aids, abates, or counsel our advisor, another person to deprive another of his or her liberty, except pursuant to a court order, commit an offense and is liable to be punished for how many years? 5 years. Or 500,000 naira, or both, as the case may be. So both see our money with your the offense in the provision on your state law. Next slide. Economic abuse of forced financial dependence. Get that up. Ọdún mélòó ni o? 2 years, tàbí èlò? 500,000. Anybody that causes attempt, incite, aid, abet, or counsel another person to force financial dependence or economic abuse of another commit an offense. So, people tell them counsel. Counsel yẹn pọ̀ gan-an, bóyá ọ̀rẹ́, tó bá yẹ pé ọ̀rẹ́ brother yẹn gan ló counsel ni wọn. Àwọn méjì wọn á jọ kó gbogbo wọn. So bóyá inú ọ̀rọ̀ ó wá ṣe ní ṣèkìtà mi lè fẹ́ ṣe tẹ́lẹ̀ o, but brother-in-law mi ló advice mi. So brother-in-law tó advice mi yẹn, àwọn méjì ló jọ máa fèsì àkànjọ ìlú wọn papọ̀. Tó wá ti gbà yẹn báyìí brother-in-law máa dì sọ́pà àgbà olówó bá mi pé mo advice mi. Ṣẹ́rí obìnrin yẹn, owó ṣẹ́rí dálógbà. To force financial dependence. A woman came yesterday. She has been the one funding the family for a very long time. Ó ti kó owó, ó ti jẹ gbèsè, ọkọ máa jẹ gbèsè síta. Òun ló máa fi ṣe guarantor. Tó bá ti ṣe tán, ó máa padà wálé. At a point, she now got to a breaking limit. Number one, ó ṣiṣẹ́, kò rí iṣẹ́ ṣe. Ó rà pé ó lóun wá ra ẹyin 1,000 naira tí ń dómì. Òun á ní kí ọkùnrin bọ̀ sanwó. The man now told her pé ó sì wá yá pàbẹ́ yẹn. Wọ́n ò pẹ́ wọ́n kọ́ wá rí iṣẹ́ ti ọpọlọ pé ẹ̀dùn náà láti lọ tí mo ti tẹ́lí gba gbogbo owó lọ́wọ́ mi tí mo ti máa yí gbọ́ bùkátà mi ìyapa ó. Èyí tí mi wá ní owó kankan lọ́wọ́ 1,000 naira. Ó dẹ̀ ti pé 1,000 naira yẹn kò ṣe pé mo fẹ́ dá jẹ. Oúnjẹ tí èmi àtàwọn ọmọ àti ẹ̀yin tájọ máa jẹ ẹ wá nínú oúnjẹ àpà wá bá rẹ sọ̀rọ̀ àti bẹ́ẹ̀ kó wá fún dádì wa lówó. So dádì ó wá ká dádì lára gan. Ó ṣàmà dọ́kàn wọn kàn dé wọn á gbá ojú àbí àsìkò sí kan tó mọ̀ ṣe mọ́ nílé yẹn. He now got to the point that he was not getting money from her. Gbogbo nǹkan tó rà sílé wọ́n ṣe machine ní pé wọ́n máa gbé síta. Wọ́n tà tí ó ti di kọ́ra. The breaking point for her was the day he now told her that ìyẹn kan ni wàá máa kú ni lára kó jẹ́ pé wọ́n lù wá pa mí àbí kíní. She just left the house. I just said, you left the house, don't worry. It is finished. Once you are out of that place, maybe you are out and he has left you alone, it is fine. But let him try to come close. They will now see the lot of you. Gbogbo owó tó ti gbà láti jọ ìlú account yóò wá torí financial statement wà bó ṣe gbà account wà. So economic abuse is there. We can count countless. A whole lot of women are going through economic abuse, honestly. At the àwa fúnra wa ó yẹ ká máa bára wa sọ̀rọ̀ wípé ká máa sọ fúnra pa obìnrin gbọ́dọ̀ ṣe ẹni tó bá bá ṣe kíkọ́ kan gbọ́dọ̀ ṣe ẹni so obìnrin right from the start we are already model to start gbogbo ẹ̀sùn nítorí àwọn ọmọ ni wà lọ fiṣẹ́ àwọn ọmọ náà ni wà lọ sọ́jà àti sùn gan àárọ̀ kùtù bí 5 a.m. àti dé ìwọ náà dẹ̀ wá pèsè owó yẹn dájú àkàn jẹun wá pọ̀ wá wo bọ́ọ̀ wẹ́dọ̀ next slide. Forced isolation. This one, everybody, I mean, quite a number of people are going through it. Forced isolation. Anybody that uses force attempts inside aids, abuse, or counter another person to isolate or separate another from families and friends. I love this provision because a whole lot of women want to come up or wọ́n má bẹ̀bí ṣe táwọn ẹbí bá ní kékeré kan ó ti wá di ìyá àjẹ́ àwọn èèyàn tí ẹ̀ mọ́ mọ́ fámìlì wọn. It is a cycle ṣé wọ́n ti pẹ́ cycle dà ń bọ̀ wọ́n á kọ́kọ́ isolate yẹn náà isolation but there is a provision of law that says it is an offence. How many months? 6 months. So tẹ́ bá ti rí brother kan anybody tẹ́ bá jẹ́ kó jáde kò bẹ́ẹ̀ fi ṣe kò bára ṣe ó kàn ṣáà ń jókòó sílé ni. Dájú máa sọ̀rọ̀ tó bá ṣe tó bá lọ church wọ́n sọ̀rọ̀ tó bá lọ bible study wọ́n sọ̀rọ̀ tó bá lọ bíṣẹ́ wọ́n sọ̀rọ̀ wọ́n ṣe kí ní development imprisonment 6 months imprisonment an option of fine of 100,000 sanction and offence. The next slide. Intimidation, that's a wrong intimidation. It's also an offence. 1 year imprisonment or fine 500. And this intimidation gbogbo wa ni o ẹ má gbàgbé pé tí wọ́n ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ mo ní this map is covering everybody irrespective of your class your sex your age. That means even we as women we must not intimidate our children, we must not intimidate our workers àwọn tó ṣiṣẹ́ lábẹ́ wa we should not. You must not encourage anybody. Ọmọ ọ̀dọ̀ sister mi ni kò kí ń gbọ́ràn. Wàá nà dáadáa, wàá ṣe bó ṣe wù ẹ́. If you do that, you are counseling another person to intimidate another. You are guilty. Like I think on our page, the last page of the book they gave us, I think there's a quote. No, yeah. The last page, the back cover. Kilo one there. So if you are talking about this violence, it must start from us. We must not intimidate, we must not isolate, we must not counsel, we must not incite. The next slide. This is another new area, new pictures and videos. Almost school Chrisland. Kilo ṣe? Almost 10 years. Kilo ṣe? A new video, but it's just new. So anybody who causes another to capture forward new picture or video commit an offense with the military part. But an offense is okay, 200,000 actually, because this new there, some people will force you to have sex and they will still record it. They will now use it to be extorting money from the victim. So anybody that attempts this is an offense. And a lot of times we don't even want the court to be a punishment of a fine punishment. So we have to discourage our children too from doing that. That's what I see about the Christian girl. Eventually, there were video clips of her doing previous things on the social media, proud to them. So that was just the blockbuster. So claimed, but from what I've seen about her, social media activities proud to them, the girls, I'm very sure they violated her before. She has now become used to the activities. It's just like a girl I think she was 15 when we got to the police station. Okay, I'm going to Beirut, she reported that case that time. Boyfriend, yeah, they were not married. Woman, she business partner, so they were dating. See, when the woman is not around, you will now come to the house. One more for me, for no. Woman, for the this girl has now mastered the art so well. So, see your birthday, she now say this girl will start complaining that I'm tired, I'm killing around, I'm killing come back. Everywhere the power go left, see you are complaining. So she now said she puts video somewhere just to capture the activity. She didn't even suspect anything was wrong. Just to capture the activities of the children. Uncle now came to the house again. Same way. The woman was saying, the police, they saw the video. There's no style of sex this 15-year-old girl cannot do. Yes. Even me looking at her, you know that yes, this girl has been baptized into sexual life. So you cannot imagine such girl, one of the Bible. Come on, Peru, yellow. Abba. So, these pictures, we should not encourage it. If anybody buy about for me, brother, come the picture one, go capture that. But in fact, the government is one more people have one young, send here. So, I want to say, see how we are going. Because our man can't do one go bora sile, for your picture on you. Can be project, send picture, be DS to be told. That's the truth. Let's the country. That's what they do. And people don't see what the mirror from picture. Just what the mirror come out workshop. Oh yeah, you are there. To send this. No fair. Let me see your pajamas. Let me see your nightwear. If it doesn't bear anyway, we need to start talking about it. And anybody that does that is criminal. So right of victims. Like I said, is enshrined in section 39 of the Constitution. So from what I've said, the victim has a right for compensation too. They have a right to go through every legal, health, social service, and other relevant assistance that are readily available to have access to them. Like for example, Women's Safe House, if you are going through stalking, if you are going through abandonment, Women's Safe House is there. We have so many NGOs, we have so many organizations that provide support. But you have a legal right. I've run through the legal rights. We have a right to seek redress in court. Then for some of these cases, we have a legal right of asking for protection. You have the rights of protection. In the cases of stalking, forced labor, whatever. The court will grant you protection. All we need to do is take an application to court to grant you protection. So basically, these are those rights that we have for victims going through any form of violence. With this few points of mine, I hope I've been able to convince you that any victim of violence has a redress according to the law. Thank you very much. We have questions.
Thank you very, very much. I want to thank every speaker and the organizers of this program. We really, really appreciate you. It's so enlightening and empowering. Knowledge is power. Thank you. My first question is that as paralegals or as support to this initiative, will we at any point in time be called as witnesses in any case for any reason? Is there a situation that can arise where you will be expected to, because that also puts you in the front line? My second question is, are there laws or is there any way that we are also protected from persecution? One of the questions my husband asked me was, husband can now come, or the family can come and attack you or your children, knowing that you are the reason that that woman has decided to take a step. And I almost answered him flippantly that I'm just doing, and I thought about it. There are situations where the family or the people of the man is aggrieved and decide that whatever is going on in their house, because you're opening your home, you're opening your offices, your shop, whatever, to be a first responder. And the fact remains is sometimes they will know where you live and they will know where you work. Is there something that protects us, or are there tips what we can do to ensure our own continued privacy and safeguard ourselves? And is there a point where we know that we must always refer to Women's Safe House or any, because honestly I can't remember half of the laws that you just read. So definitely we have to call, we have to make sure that we, this thing. Are there flyers, for instance, you want to let people know that these are laws? I didn't know some of this. Stalking, I didn't know some of this. And I have friends. In fact, I have a situation where in my family, band has left the house for both of them. He's married to somebody else. But the first wife is the one perpetuating crime against the second wife. So you know that the man, but for goodness sake, it's a woman's crime against another woman, to the point that she took one of the child and tied her and put her in the well. So, but one and I just let them know that I'm hearing it as gist. If I was at home, or if you were telling me authoritatively, gist me, there are people I can call and people will be arrested, and I won't say because I'm a family member. So those are my questions. Thank you very much.
Let me start from the last. Where is the baby now? The baby has gone to oh. Oh, so test you my daba. Oh, fisher, everybody. Madam, let them report officially. It is. The truth is, she will do it one day. No, she will even do it. This one is attempt. She will eventually do it one day. What they might check in Congado Marcus, what they will say, she will do it. It's better for them to report the case. Even though I she will let it be on record. If you only fight because people see attempt here, to the doctor market. But when what be she bullying you run you show. My sister said this something. She mistake you come there. You don't see it goes from word of mouth to a little bit of let me attempt, then the actual act will now happen. So please don't take it like it's like we are talking about. Then the next question about our protection. I'm very sure they've told us the consent of the victims are paramount to us. You don't force anybody to help them. Let them come to you. Let them realize, like what I always say, we do. If you don't want help, we will not offer help to you. Because it gets to a point, you say, auntie, you don't have force me. Don't back force conversation, force everything. Let it come. Then, if possible, let's try to get a consent from, yes, the victim. Before you render any services to them, let them have a consent from saying, I want help from you. I consent to go through the process. If not, madam, please don't do it too. Because even we as leaders, we are very cautious. Sometimes you get to court rape case, complainant, they witness. You just be going to court. Thank you. There was a case yesterday that we attended to. The man actually came. Oh, bring to our report here. I want to, madam. Say, what for seeing? We shall let you on party and no. But oh yeah, I'm better for one bread. I get that phone never switch off for me. So naturally, you can just drop the file. When she's ready, so don't force anybody to go through the process. Let it. But however, if it is children and you say that imminent danger, all this is limited. They have timeline. There was a child that called. I'm still going to revisit the case. Initially, we invited the parents. She called and said, Yami has knew. They want to kill themselves. It's not the parent that reported themselves, it's the children. They just come and help us divorce both of them. They almost killed themselves in the house. We invited both of them, they did not come. We invited both of them, they did not come. But we are still looking for how to revisit the case to go and actually separate those people. Because number one, it's apparently telling on these children and they are learning the process from their parents. Because of that, we will have to take action because of imminent danger. Like then sometimes when the person has psychological problem and they cannot use it, you may have to take steps on them. But in most cases, if they are okay, they are sound, please get consent from them. I think the first one. Sometimes, if you are the first responder, and sometimes you might want to go to the police station to report, you might have to put down some things to the police. They can call you, but it will not be detrimental to you. That doing your work as a first responder. That's nothing to do with they come and carry you. You always get their consent before. But if it is rape, cause women's about them, direct you to the next appropriate quarters. Any case that you cannot, you know that it is beyond your power, please, before we handle them, let's call women's house. Direct you to the appropriate quarters. That's why we have synergies with police force, and you can always report. Okay. Ẹni tí ọkọ rẹ̀ bá bí obìnrin wá bá nílé tí kò sì gbọdọ̀ sọ̀rọ̀ kí ni a fẹ́ ṣe irú ẹni báyìí ìmọ̀ràn wo ni a lè fún ẹni tí ọkọ rẹ̀ when the husband bring women. I will start from what kind of religion are you practicing? Is it Islamic religions that allows a man to have more than one wife? Mary and Abu. So if it is Islamic religion, you should be able to shoulder, prepare for. But the truth is, as women, I like telling us the truth. That we can bound men not to commit adultery is a lie. That we can cause them not to commit it is a lie. Everyone except the Holy Spirit and God helps them. Everybody has a tendency to commit it. So for me, for women that they are in that situation, may I say shoulder up your responsibility. Number one, your self-identity is the first priority you have. You need to have a self-identity yourself. Be able to cater for yourself and your children. Peradventure, don't do. Again yesterday, it's so funny. This woman has built her life around the man. Unfortunately, it's almost the same case. This man was dating the neighbor. Eventually, he has splitted towards the neighbor's side. Now he wants the woman out of the house and the children. Fortunately for her children are not. One has diabetes, one has cerebral palsy. So she went to battle with them. But unfortunately for her, she did not have any self-identity. The man gives them about 100,000 naira per month. Yes, she stays at home doing nothing. The man wants them out of the house now. The first question we ask is, eventually the matter you want court, but eventually the matter what do you want to do? If he's paying for the children's school fees and he's paying for their maintenance, what do you as a person, as a woman? What will auntie, I don't have anything. I've been at home because of my madam. This is the best time for you to have a self-identity now. Because this man even knows that you cannot survive without me. So he has the upper hand. So I think for us as women, we need to start telling our women. This is tí obìnrin bá ti marry, gbogbo vision ẹ̀, gbogbo aspiration ẹ̀, ó ti kú yẹn, ọ̀rọ̀ ni o, ó ẹ̀sẹ̀ bẹ̀rẹ̀ ni. Build your self-identity first. When you go out in the morning, ìgbà wo ló bá rí pé ọkọ ẹ pé ìyàwó wa tó máa lọ́dọ̀ yóò gbé wa tó wà sí ní láìsí dé you take up your. But then, like I said, it depends on the religion. If he's not violent to you and your children, and he's just committing his adultery by himself, for himself, the only thing that can happen is for you to deprive him of sex. But if he's not violent about it, I think you are good to go. Am I making sense? How can we help women facing domestic violence and she does not want to leave the marriage because of economic problems? What did I say about consent? If she's not willing, let her. I think it's high time we start telling our girl child this self-identity is important. If you are not, if the scripture says for this reason a man and woman will become one flesh, but they are first old, they are by themselves, which they are half. Offering is old, offering is old. They now join together, they become one. It's not half. Let every girl child be whole. Self-identity, financial stability, psychological stability. Don't go. God help us. If there is a case of rape between children or between parents, what can women say about such? Women say about Saura. What do you say? Women say about what's the best?
Okay. So the issue of the youth test, my own question would be, how did you get to know about the youth test? That would be the first thing we will look at. Did they come and tell you that, Mommy, if please report that case to police. But like we have said, there are some cases that you can't report without the consent of one of the other people, one of the people that is happening to. If I get to the police and they say, it's happened to us before, and you'll be looking so to be like, hey, what happened? So please report. If one of them comes to you and says this what happened, justice, that's what you will do. So you report to us, we will guide, we will provide the appropriate support, we will provide the guidance. But we won't want to say, you are speaking to your sister, don't do that again. No, we will report and let the Lord take his full course.
Thank you.
It's about forceful eviction from home. I want to know like the law and what can be done. Like okay, if someone forces their partner, especially a woman, out of the house, we put together.
They are just, once you report to the police, we make a formal complaint. From there, if number one, we usually use mediation for okay, can we settle it between them? Bring her back. If not, we go to court. Yeah, brother, what is your buy you want to okay. Another question.